Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about a survivor's mindset and toolbox. So, from the day we are born through the day that we leave this earth, we are in the process of surviving. So, I don't think we often comprehend that. There's such a thin string attaching us to this planet. We don't really comprehend every day that we're here as a lesson in survival, but it really is. We are developing experiences and building upon those experiences that we draw upon to use in the future when events, circumstances, accidents befall us. And, in this day and age right now, it's a challenging environment out there. And I think it's challenging financially, it's challenging on families, it's challenging on mindsets, it's challenging on our physical health, on our emotional well-being. There are so many variances to the challenge. And if you are sheltering in place, or you're trying to get out and get groceries, or you need medical help and you don't know where to go, it feels as if everything is more real at this moment. And this takes a survivor's mindset to really weather this and come out on the other side feeling empowered, feeling uplifted, and feeling encouraged and able to move forward. So we develop experiences in relation to fear very, very early. And many people are experiencing fear. They're experiencing some level of that, whether it's small amounts of anxiety or, when they look at the stock market and their portfolio, like maybe actual fear, right? There's all kinds of fear as far as its degree, the depth of that, but our base reactions to fear are built between the ages of 4 and about 8. And so how we respond to fear, do we laugh? Do we cry? Do we internalize? Do we compartmentalize? Do we, become very introverted? Do we become very extroverted? Those are all patterns and habits that we develop over time. Human beings are patterns. We are one thing repeated after the other. And if you were to trace your patterns and your habits back, you would find that most often they started when you were young. So let's say a parent came home and they had a rough day and they didn't respond to you in a way that was very conducive to your emotional health. You might have developed a fear response, which was to please that parent or to run away from that parent, or whatever that circumstance looked like for you. That got embedded in you. And that might be, if you take that forward throughout time, how you today respond to fear as well. You might run from that fear, or you might try to appease that fear. So we learn patterns very, very early. And when we come to a place in our life where we are challenged by an event, an experience, a circumstance, an accident where something is different overnight, which I think many of us can relate to because this feels different overnight. It doesn't feel like something that happened over the span of a couple of years and snuck up on us. It really was one day we heard about coronavirus. That was very different from the day before. And, this has changed the way we live. We're here today on a virtual meeting because we're not meeting in person. That doesn't mean it won't ever go back, but you are prepared for this moment, whether you know it or not. And the reason why you're prepared is that you have had a wealth of experience that has gotten you here today that will empower you to see what you have to call upon to sustain you throughout this period of time. So what do survivors do? What is the mindset of a survivor? Let's say there's a plane crash or a boat wreck out in the ocean. And, everybody is in the same circumstance where one moment they're on the plane and the next moment they're on the side of the mountain. What is the difference between the person who succumbs to those injuries and the one who walks out of that mountain range alive? The difference is often in how they first look at what has occurred. So let's think about where we are right now. So one day we're going to work, the next day we're working from home, the kids are home, can't go to the grocery stores frequently, etc., don't want to go to the hospital. One day things were normal, the next day things change. A survivor's mindset, the one who's walking out of the mountain or coping with kids at home and working from home, that survivor says to themselves, today is different. It is not the same as yesterday. And I can't try to, using the expression that they use in the mountaineering community, bend the map toward what I want it to be. The map is different. You're in a different place than where you expected the map to be. So you have found yourself lost a bit mentally, right? And instead of trying to say, how do I use my pre-existing map to navigate this time in this place? I need to recognize this time in this place is different than the current map that I have. This is today's normal. It is today, and it's not going to be what it was yesterday as much as I wish it were. And so they recognize where they are in the moment, and they say, I'm not going to be able to change it, but I can accept it. Then from there, they say, okay, if I accept it, then if I want to survive this, I want to get out healthy, I want to get out of the mountain range and get myself rescued. They say to themselves, I am going to do my own surviving. I am going to be responsible for myself. I'm not going to wait for somebody to come rescue me. I'm going to rescue myself. I'm going to be my own hero, right? So what are the steps that I need to take? The ultimate goal is to rescue myself, to survive, to be healthy when this passes. So what do I need to do? They don't try to go from A to Z. We have to wait this out just like everybody else, right? We're not going to get there just by wishing it to be. We need to take each day as it comes and tackle each day as it comes and accomplish what we can inside that day to survive, right? So if it is to stay healthy another day, let's not think about 6 months from now, or 30 days from now, or 15 days from now, or a year from now, because we don't know when this situation for all of us changes. And wishing that it would change faster than it's going to is of absolutely no benefit. Persisting throughout the day and saying, what can I do today to make today as accomplished, as goal-oriented, as pleasant, make this time valuable to move myself to the end of the day, having accomplished one thing, which is surviving that day, right? So big goals are great. Yes, we want to survive this. Yes, we want to get out of the mountain range. But all we have in front of us is this moment and this day. So looking at small goals, small things that you can accomplish that can give you clarity within your day, have you have this sense of accomplishment within the day. We can't wish for our kids to go back to school. We just have to wait until they do go back to school. So what can I do today to make sure that they've got their math homework done, or that they learn something about geography today? What are the things that I can do to make today valuable, right? And then from there, so that's the mindset, taking one step at a time. So first, the map is different, one step at a time. And then how do we create those steps, right? What are we doing to make those steps moving forward? One of the most powerful things that develop within the mind of a survivor is the power of a mantra, which I wanted to talk about today. So we are human beings of patterns and habits. We've already talked about that. It turns out that inside of our head, we have two different brains, let's call it that. We have the amygdala, the limbic brain, what you sometimes hear called the monkey brain or the lizard brain, which is all reactive to stimuli. So this brain, while listening to the news, is like, run, hide, oh my God, the sky's falling, right? And then you have your cognitive, rational reasoning brain that it can be called upon to help you make decisions during this period of time. So these two brains are trying to do work at the same time in the midst of a crisis or a situation that is when the map has changed unexpectedly. Your monkey brain is screaming out, the sky is falling, and your cognitive brain is trying to figure out how to get to the end of the day. So the mantra becomes very, very important because it can shut down this monkey brain from taking in as much stimuli. It can quiet that brain because you're calling on a cognitive pattern to get you through the day. So whatever that is, keep going, keep moving, one more step forward, do one more thing. Everybody has their own mantra. And for some people, it is prayerful or religious in nature. For other people, it is very much about action. But just repeating a mantra, it becomes a pattern inside your head that allows you to take the action steps to move forward. So that's a specific tool for the toolbox that when you're developing a mantra, I have my own when you're developing a mantra, thinking about words that are powerful to you, words that make you feel more positive, the words that make you feel more ready to tackle the world, or make you feel fearless, make you feel engaged and curious. Those words that elicit an emotional response for you are some of the most powerful words to incorporate into a mantra. Hi, little one. And so thinking about that and developing something that you can tell yourself to quiet this brain, to get yourself out of the panic that this brain wants you to do. This part of your brain is responsible for survival. This part of the brain is responsible for taking in stimuli and helping you stay alive. So right now, this part of the brain is very loud. It is very highly stimulated and highly reactive to the news that we're hearing, whether it's financial, emotional, medical, health, any of those things. This brain is going nuts. So actively putting our cognitive brain into a thought pattern that moves us forward in action is one of the most powerful tools that we have as survivors to get us through the day, to enable us to move forward, and to keep us moving so that we don't just stay in this place of panic and worry, right? The next thing that survivors often do, so again, they're using patterns, so they've recognized the map is changing, they've recognized they're responsible for their own survival, they have made a decision to survive, right? And then they've put in some action steps, small goals to get them just to the end of that day, achievable things. And then lastly, but I think probably most importantly, is they make a conscious decision that they will do whatever it takes to get through something. So it is very easy, as strange as this might sound, because we think the human body, to some extent, other than a radical injury or a radical disease or something that is really takes its toll on us physically, the will to survive is actually one of the most powerful things that we have at our disposal. There is somebody who can get lost in the wilderness with no physical injury, who can lay down, beside a rock, go to sleep and decide that they don't want to wake up. And that can be the end of their life, even though nothing physically would have been wrong with them. They have made a decision not to continue. Versus somebody who's very, very injured can walk their way out of the mountains regardless, on a broken leg, on a dislocated, it doesn't matter. They can decide that they're going to do everything that it physically takes for them to get out of that situation and survive. So the mindset that we adopt during these periods of time of recognizing, I can't wish for it to be different. I can't hope for it to be something that it's not. I can control what's in front of me today, and I'm going to decide that I am going to get through this. Those things together can be incredibly powerful. Then you add in a mantra that just keeps moving you forward, and you have a mindset and a toolbox that becomes very indispensable to you. I know for myself, I've done a lot of work and a lot of study on the human brain and really understanding when that voice of panic starts to pop up, right? So I have news that I didn't expect, or something happens that that bothers me. I know I have a physical, we have a response to fear in our body first before it ever hits our mind. So I've become very clued into the fact that I get a little bit of bubbling up kind of in the this part of my chest. It starts to feel kind of tight. I get some nausea in my stomach when something doesn't go my way, or I feel like it's gone awry. I have some physical sensations, but then this part of my brain starts to pop in and starts to send warning signals to me to protect myself, to shut down, etc. So I've become really, really conscious of that brain, and that's where I start to use that mantra. I start to repeat to myself the things that I find most empowering. So I just wanted to share that today because we are in unprecedented times, but choosing how we go about these is 100% up to us. We are 100% responsible for where we are today, what we choose to do with this time, and the mindset, whether we look at the additional time with our family and working from home as an opportunity, or if we look at it as a setback. We have that choice. So just wanted to share that today in case that would be helpful for people that are going through this and are not quite sure how to navigate this. That's it.
Thank you so much, Miss Laura. You're a rock star. Thank you for saying all of those amazing things, because I think everybody needs to hear that right now. I know I sure needed to hear that, because you're right. I mean, any survivor, any warrior knows that, you know what, if I can come from literally nothing to turn yourself into something, that's a mindset issue, right? That's a mindset, not issue, but a mindset. So if you have this mindset of, we're in a really weird situation right now, we're not going to go back to what normal was right before this. We're going to have to learn from what has happened and take what we've learned and move ourselves to another level. Or we can go into the crowd of chaos and do really what, go into the negative side, and then eventually let ourselves go into a very negative cycle, therefore turn into something that you don't want to become. And so right now,
That I think is, it's a choice to rise above, right? It's a choice to say to yourself, and I remember from your story, Stephanie, it's saying, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take responsibility for what the outcome is over here, right? It's
exactly.
a choice in how to show up in that. I have lots of people that, I coach and counsel that have said to me, I wish it doesn't, wishing is a wonderful thing to do in your spare time, but until we go back to normal, whatever normal looks like, that's going to be its own map. We have a different map right now, so why operate off the old map that isn't going to give you any accurate data, instead of operating on a current map of where you are right now and making the best of that map? Take a bath, read a book that you've been waiting to read, connect with friends that you haven't had the time to connect with. Play with your dog more than you did. My dog and I were just like sitting on the top of the stairwell today, and I wouldn't have taken those 5 minutes to just sit there with him. Prior, I would have been running off to a gym class, or I would have been running off to something else. And it's like I fully was there and present in that moment. One of the kind of rules of this philosophy is be here now. I'm here now. I'm not anywhere else now. So why worry about wherever else is? Be here now.
Yes, I love it. I love it. All right, ladies. Well, we're coming to the end of our call here. Was anybody else wanting to add anything else about mindset and how we can encourage other women in the Empower group and or Empower Groups business page? Any other way that we'd like to encourage anybody, or any other last things that you'd like to say?
I guess just I'm loving what I'm hearing, and everything is true, because we do get caught up in the stress of trying, like, I got to deal with this and deal with that and deal with this. And yeah, like, I like the part about enjoy those small moments, because it's not that we don't always get those.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, thank you, Laura. And I also really liked how you said do your own surviving, because it does look different for each person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love it. All right, ladies. Well, I love all of you. You are all amazing. And thank you so much for joining us on this call today for our very first virtual Empower Hour call. Thank you, Laura, for your encouraging words about mindset and how we can each really take our lives where we are currently in this interesting and, I would say, even a little dim situation, and making this world and even our situations into a whole different amazing life. So thank you so much for that. And ladies of Empower, if you have any questions or anything you would like to add or anything else, please feel free to mention anything that you would like to mention in the code at the bottom of the post that we're going to be putting onto the Facebook page, as well as Instagram, YouTube, and everything else. I hope this encourages you in this time. If you have anything that you're in need of, anything at all, I mean, it could be anything from questions that you want answered, questions that you may have about the markets. It could be anything. We will try our hardest to see how we can help you, because you're not alone. Even though we're all in our own home, you're not alone. You have support, you have love, and don't give up. It's time to move. Take us all to another level. Thank you, ladies. Thanks for your time, ladies. Bye-bye.
Bye.